church today, for his people, God's people, what needs to be done? What needs to happen? What do you see happening in the church for revival to be possible?
I think that we're going to recognize revival when we see it. And we're going to have to get beyond what we expect to see and see what it actually is. There's a lot that's happening in churches, and we want to see a movement. We want to see an overt movement of a lot of things happening. But I believe God is doing revival one heart at a time. And there may come a time when we see a radical movement or whatever. But if we don't understand that revival happens one heart at a time, one life at a time, then we're going to be like other people that are sitting with their suitcases waiting on Jesus. And then we're going to miss it. I see people that are hungry and thirsting for God. But sometimes we get so organized and structured and with our expectations of what's supposed to happen that we miss when it does happen. I think that even our relationship, you, me, Bethany, and the other places, that is revival right there. Because we're contradicting everything that everybody think is supposed to happen with this and happen with that. And when I go to Bethany Church, and I'm not saying this because of this interview and everything, when I walk through there and I feel the love that is there, and when my wife and I would go there, we would talk about it in the car and all night and everything like that. And there are people that are impacted by it, but they'll say something to you like, could you teach me to pray? Could you show me how to do this? And because as a church, sometimes we've gotten so quote unquote religious that we forgot it's not about religion, it's about relationship.
Right.
And if a person thinks that they got to learn how to pray, then we've misled them, because prayer is not having all of the sayings and cliches and euphemisms and everything. It's one person's heart opening and allowing God's heart to connect with their heart. Right. And revival is a very personal thing. But we have to get beyond materialism. We have to get beyond political preferences and all of these other things that we think have to be in place in order for revival to happen. Yeah. And it's happening right in front of your eyes, and we're missing it. Yeah. Because if I died today or tomorrow, I may never see what we are looking for in terms of revival. But my salvation, my sanctification, and my ultimate glorification was revival for me.
Right.
And it's happening.
Yeah.
And it may never come to a movement, or it may happen as a movement. But every soul is important to God.
Right.
Whether they happen in a large group or small group and everything. And we got to get excited about every soul. Because I hate to say it, but I believe it's true. I think the attractiveness of revival in the terms that we describe revival is because we're kind of looking like we want self-exaltation. Like Milton had a church that brought thousands of people to the Lord, and thousands, and it's not about Milton. You know, You heard the thing before. The little boy walking on the beach with his granddad, and he's throwing a starfish back in the water because they're everywhere. And finally, his granddad said, "Son, it's no use in throwing that fish back in the water. You know, there's still thousands of them that are going to die and everything." He said, "But not that one."
Right.
And God is looking soul by soul by soul.
Right.
I would love it if it did come a time where we had this major movement in the country and everything like that. But we'll probably end up attributing it to some preacher or some church or ourselves or whatever,
Yeah.
and not God anyway.
Right.
You know, God loves us one on one, and every soul that comes is a revival that day.
Okay.
And we got to get beyond all of these new books that have just revealed we never saw before, and get beyond the new edifice that was built because of this and everything, and realize that we don't need another book, we don't need another church, and we don't need another God. We already have everything that we need. Already is happening. We need to yield to that